Disclaimer: the opinions expressed by Jacob Robinson in this video are solely his own and do not constitute legal advice nor the opinion of McCarthy Tetro.
But I think a big problem in the industry is that we're so quick to dismiss the monkey trading and the trading of pictures of monkeys and things like that as, well, that's not what it is. To be fair, that is a good part of what crypto has been. And if we just ignore that and pretend it doesn't exist, I don't think we move the narrative forward in the way we want. What I always try to do is read the best, most critical articles that I can find of crypto to find out where my blind spots might be and where I might be over enthusiastic. When I was in law school and I was learning about crypto, I thought, we don't need fiat currencies. Like, this is the future. And I was a bit naive in my takes on what the future could look like. And I think as I've gotten a bit more experienced in the space, it's become clear that just because there are aspects of crypto that might not be beneficial to society, things like wash trading, trading of NFTs that might not have any value to society at large, doesn't mean the technology itself isn't useful. Just like in the early stages of the internet, when you had pirating of music, for example, doesn't mean the future can't be streaming and so much better for everybody in the world. And so when I look at crypto, I think that, to me, what gets me the most excited is when people say things like, well, how do you feel after this FTX collapse? And how do you justify that given what you say crypto promises? And to me, every example that people give are perfect examples of why crypto is beneficial. And when you look at centralized players who have held control in such small authoritative roles within the business, it's so obvious why a larger decentralized model that can remove that necessary trust and the expense that you pay for that trust in a way that can provide still the same tools and benefits to the end user really gets me excited, and is something I try to focus on when we think about crypto in general and the benefits that it will give to society moving forward.
Yeah, I think a few interesting points. One, you got to find balance, right? There's not all of it is going to be trading NFTs, and some of it's going to be just using the technology to do certain things. But that doesn't mean that digital art is useless, right? The ability to bring out the creative side and certain people that really didn't have other avenues to make a living prior to something like this, and having collectors who truly believe in supporting those artists, right? Like, that's still there. That doesn't change because of a crash, right? Are there less people involved? Absolutely. But when I think about that stuff, I think of the same when I think about things like FTX. And I saw a meme the other day. It's like 10 deep. Oh, finally we got rid of that one guy. Oh shoot, there's another guy. Oh shoot, there's another guy. And you're going all the way down. Guess what? Fraud, deceit, grifters, if you will. That's been happening in every industry that is speculative for a very long time. This just happens to be the one where you can amass value very highly, and it's in the spotlight. That doesn't make it okay, but that's just reality. And we need these people to be removed. And the more people that we do get out of the space that are like that, the better chance we have of like building out what it can truly become.
And it gets me, this might sound funny, but it does get me very excited when I see how successful fraudulent actors have been. And if those entities can reach this level of success, imagine people who are really pushing things forward and making a difference in the world can go.
Yeah, the impact side of it is something I focus a lot on in this show. And I talk to probably, I would say 60 to 70% of my guests now are marketers.
Interesting.
And they come into this space. I purposely go for marketers that were not in Web3 and moved to Web3 and had experience outside of Web3. Because what they're doing is they're taking what's useful out of this space, and then they're coming in for a lot of the same reasons people that are native to this space came in, which is like the ability to bring collective groups together around shared values, pool capital, and actually affect some sort of change that are related to those values. And that's powerful. It's really powerful.
That's a perfect way to put it. I think this is the first time we can create a system that removes the need to trust some third party to maintain the ledger of ownership, that acts as the economic incentives to drive people's action. And the best predictor of human action is the incentive. If you incentivize someone, like in law firms, to work 2,000 hours a year, they're much more likely to do it than if you only incentivize them to work 1,500. And when you think of something like DAOs and crypto generally, now you can have these incentives in place that don't require something like a cap table to be managed by one person who could arbitrarily trade it or arbitrarily change it in a manner that they feel. It's just, to me, and I think as lawyers, we're able to recognize the importance and the cost that we place on trust. I was talking to a friend earlier about when you have about contracts and thinking of DeFi in the span of contracts. When you have a contract, a lender borrower agreement, even one with your bank, you're trusting the courts to uphold it. You're trusting the bank to honor their promises. You're trusting the financial system to remain intact. You're trusting the internet to stay. You're trusting so many different actors that all play a role. Meanwhile, when you're in DeFi, the amount of people you have to trust is so much smaller. Therefore, the cost you have to pay for that trust is so much smaller. And I think that itself will provide so much more efficiency and unlock capital to be used in so many better ways. A really good example is even comparing Bitcoin to gold. If you're storing gold bars, think about the costs that are expended to hold gold bars in Fort Knox or something. When you compare it to like a USB stick that's in a safety deposit box with the private key sort of spread out, or the seed phrase spread out across the world, for example, it's night and day difference. And so to me, the efficiencies that we're going to see in the economic activity, I think will really change the world.